Hi, I'm Tommy with DeckRite. If you live in Western Canada and your home has a deck or sun porch, there's a very good chance that deck is covered with walkable vinyl membrane. This technology started in British Columbia in the 1970s and has grown to be a very popular choice of consumers. DeckRite material in various forms has covered decks in Western Canada for decades. It's one of the original products introduced in British Columbia and has spread east to Ontario and south into the United States. Today, Western Canada remains the mecca for decking membrane applications. However, the use of products like DeckRite have spread across North America and have grown substantially with millions of feet installed annually. This is due to it being waterproof, slip-resistant, rugged, walkable, easy to maintain, easy to repair, mildew-resistant, and proven time and again as a trusted quality product. This video describes the installation of a non-woven polyester-backed DeckRite product very popular in Canada. It will provide basic membrane installation techniques and detailing for use on a wood deck. If you're a consumer, it will provide an idea of what will happen with the DeckRite installation on your deck. If you're an installer, it will provide a look at many of the standard details you may be faced with on a DeckRite application. We hope anyone who watches this video gains a better understanding and appreciation for this growing segment of the construction industry. After the homeowner has made contact with the DeckRite installer, they will visit the job site to review the overall scope of work. They will likely talk about scheduling, loading the deck, material storage, and completion time. The installer may double-check their measurements, making sure they have correct measurements and information to provide a competitive and comprehensive quotation. The installer will look at the detailing that may be required on drains and through-wall scuppers, plumbing vent pipes, and if required, skylights. Most membrane decking applications require surface preparation prior to installing the membrane product. In new construction, the requirements could include putting a skim coat of seam patch over the wood seams, the knot holes, screw holes, or any irregularities in the deck surface. Once the seam patch is installed, it will require sanding. The quickest approach to leveling out the seam patch and any unevenness in the plywood pieces is with a belt sander or a disc grinder. Any dust created can be easily removed with the leaf blower. If the deck to be recovered has an existing membrane on it, it can be recovered. The installer can install new plywood over the existing membrane, screw it down, and then add the DeckRite membrane over the new plywood. Another option would be to tear off the existing membrane. Many times, this option may leave the existing plywood in terrible condition and ultimately may require a thin layer of plywood be attached. Contact the membrane manufacturer on the number of fasteners required to attach the new plywood sheeting. And lastly, in many cases, the new DeckRite membrane can be glued to the existing membrane. Consult the manufacturer for their requirements in recover applications. Pre-measured pieces of membrane are cut to be installed on specific areas of the deck. These pre-measured pieces allow for a quick installation and reduced scrap. When cutting the pieces, allow for required over-the-edge detailing, a parapet wall, or metal flashing at the perimeter. All DeckRite applications are fully adhered to the substrate. Adhesives are either water-based latex or a solvent-based contact adhesive, depending on several conditions including wood or concrete substrates, weather and humidity, and installer preference. Most dealers prefer solvent-based contact adhesive that requires the deck surface and the back of the membrane to be coated with adhesive. DeckRite adhesives are applied with a medium nap paint roller with a handle extension. Application rates will be provided on the adhesive can. The first pre-cut membrane piece is placed on the deck and unrolled to fit in its pre-designated location. Once unrolled and lying flat on the deck surface, an end or a side of the membrane is folded back onto itself, exposing the deck surface. The solvent adhesive is applied to the back of the membrane and the deck surface using a medium nap paint roller. Solvent adhesive requires a curing time before the membrane can be laid into the glued substrate. The drying process typically requires 15 to 20 minutes depending on the ambient temperature. Once the adhesive has sufficiently dried, the membrane is laid into the deck adhesive. Some installers pre-glue the membrane for a quicker installation. In any case, the membrane is rolled with vinyl floor rollers or compressed to the deck surface to ensure complete adhesive contact. As the membrane is installed, seams required should have an overlap of 1 inch to 1 1/2 inches. The seams are also shingled so any water drainage flows over the seam. It's important to keep any adhesive from contaminating the seaming area prior to hot air welding. Ultimately, being careful is the best practice. However, some dealers use painter's tape to cover the seaming area in the event of an unforeseen spill. The hot air welding or seaming technique for a non-woven polyester-backed product, as shown in the video, is different than the technique used with non-reinforced vinyl-backed membrane. The product shown in the video is the most popular throughout Canada. The original deck membranes were manufactured using non-woven polyester backing, so installers are very familiar with the seaming technique. The size of the deck will also dictate when you start the hot air welding process. On larger decks, you will want to weld the seams on the membrane, ensuring a watertight deck before leaving the project. Every deck is different and will have unique decking details that will be addressed. Drains, plumbing stacks, skylights, railing, parapet walls, etc. are just a few of the items you could find on a deck. Most installers use detailing methods they're familiar with. Others utilize the prefabricated manufacturer accessories. Because shingling the seams is an important aspect of installing the membrane, chances are the first piece of membrane will be adhered at the lowest drainage edge of the deck. The video depicts a solvent-based contact adhesive project, requiring adhesive being applied to both surfaces and allowed to dry about 15 minutes. The adhesive is dried enough when the adhesive feels tacky when touched with your finger. If touching the adhesive produces strings or legs of adhesive, it needs to dry longer. Once the membrane is applied to the deck without wrinkles, use a stiff bristle push broom, vinyl roller, or other tool to ensure complete contact between the two surfaces. Repeat the gluing process throughout the balance of the membrane pieces. If there are through deck protrusions, you'll need to cut out the membrane to tightly fit around the protrusion. The second piece of membrane is laid in place and positioned for a 1 inch to 1 1/2 inch shingled overlap. Repeat the adhesive application process, ensuring no adhesive contaminates the seaming area. Most installers will install all the membrane pieces, or most of them, before dropping back to start the hot air seaming process. There are several types of perimeter attachment on decks. Ultimately, the homeowner and the installer will reach a decision on how to address the perimeter detailing. The most common detail used is first installing a 90-degree metal flashing around the deck. As the membrane is installed, it is glued to the top of the metal flashing and down the face of the metal. A PVC clip is then installed at the drip edge of the flashing. Another popular perimeter attachment is a powder-coated termination bar. Most decks utilize some type of railing system. One of the most popular is extruded aluminum railing. Extruded aluminum comes in a wide variety of profiles, colors, and designs. Some even incorporate glass. When it comes to installing railing on DeckRite membrane, it is strongly suggested that fascia-mounted posts be used to avoid membrane penetration. When your DeckRite project is completed, you will have a state-of-the-art decking system installed that should provide years of enjoyment. For more information, feel free to reach out anytime.